Some interesting news on the Epstein front, even though Ghislaine Maxwell has now been convicted. You guys will remember they brought on for the BBC expert lawyer in order to analyze the verdict. Alan Dershowitz, who was literally a lawyer for Jeffrey Epstein, also was on the Trump impeachment case, goes all the way back to the OJ trial. He never really he doesn't have a spotlight that he doesn't want to miss. Anyway, it has now come out, let's put this up there on the screen. Alan Dershowitz used his leverage with Trump and his proximity there and lobbied him to preemptively pardon Ghislaine Maxwell after speaking to her family. Now, what they say is that there was a phone call between Alan Dershowitz and a member of the Maxwell family, at least of which he then lobbied the Trump administration in order to try and get a pardon for her. Now, this is really interesting because Dershowitz obviously had a lot to lose from this trial. The reason why is that some of the testimony and accusation relied on Virginia Giuffre, who is one of the accusers in the Maxwell trial and in the Dershowitz allegation. She accuses Alan Dershowitz of sexually assaulting her when she was underage. She's also a prominent accuser against Prince Andrew, as well as many other different billionaires and powerful people. You can go and look at the list of people that she's named. He wanted to push a pardon for the Maxwell family because he himself helped broker the sweetheart deal for Epstein, and because a prominent accuser in that trial, if it was validated that what she was saying was true, would then validate an accusation against him, which is something that he actually then tried to smear her during his BBC appearance. Yes. It all just comes full circle on Alan Dershowitz.
He had a lot of skin in the game here, let's just say.
A lot of skin in the game.
Also, so Michael Wolff, who's can be sketchy in terms of journalists, but
with a grain of salt.
Yeah, right. He reported in his book that Trump did actually consider this request, pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, preemptively pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell at the end of his term. And then I had forgotten, but do you remember this? He got asked about Ghislaine Maxwell a couple of times at the end, and he said, he told reporters at White House coronavirus briefing about Ghislaine Maxwell, quote, "I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach, but I wish her well, whatever it is." Then he got asked again by Axios' Jonathan Swan, and very similar message about just like, yeah, I wish her well. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well. Good luck. Let them prove somebody was guilty. And again, according to Michael Wolff, he started at the end of his term to inquire whether she'd brought him up and whether there was anything he needed to be worried about there, whether she was going to roll on him. So if you put those pieces together, it seems like he didn't want to piss her off in these final moments of his presidency, understanding that, hey, a lot of things could come out ultimately in this trial.
Yeah, I mean, and look, she actually didn't say anything about him. She never testified. This was the last chance in open court that we ever got at unsealing a lot of documents, at looking what the FBI had. There's a lot of stuff happening. I mean, you know, some speculation now, let's put this up there on the screen, that Sarah Kellen, a former assistant to Epstein, who scheduled some of the massage appointments and sent cars to pick up people and did all sorts of sketchy stuff, she might be targeted via prosecutors. I just don't think so, Krystal.
You don't think so?
They dropped the charges against the guards. They're cleaning house. They have no reason to pursue this. They got exactly what they wanted. They put Maxwell behind bars, nothing about the Epstein suicide, nothing about any of the billionaires who he cavorted with. All of the money remains covered up in open court. It's all in sealed financial documents. You get little slivers here and there from Deutsche Bank and the fine against there, but this is it. It's like they tied it up like a little bow. I don't think they're ever I don't think they'll ever risk opening this up in court ever again.
What did you think about this case? Yeah, because this is another person who was right there at the center, would have known the people involved, would be in a position to name names, and expose this whole sort of like pyramid scheme of sexual abuse that Ghislaine Maxwell's trial really didn't touch on at all. What do you think? She claims that she herself was a victim, that she was picked up when she was 21 years old. She'd been cast out of, I guess she'd been raised Jehovah's Witness. She'd been cast out of the community. She divorced a man that she married at age 17. This is what she's saying, that she was in this very vulnerable place and they took her in and manipulated and abused her too. And then she also then becomes complicit and actively involved in abuse of other girls This is her story.
Look,
what do you think of all that?
It's a very convenient story. It's something I would also say if I was caught doing a lot of this stuff. You know, you can go ahead and call yourself a victim. Maybe it is true. That also doesn't absolve you of the fact that you actively were complicit in the sexual exploitation of young girls. And look, you know, maybe consider it in sentencing. But like, that's not something in terms of stopping you from charged of all this. I, again, think this is a total distraction. I'm not saying she shouldn't go to jail, and obviously with Maxwell, but so much of the top was just totally left off in the trial. I mean, this Dershowitz thing is much more of a glimpse into how this stuff really works.
That's right.
He wants to get her pardoned so he can get off the hook, make sure he doesn't get accused. He wants to make sure that a lot of the other people that she accused, Virginia Giuffre, Ehud Barak, the Israeli prime minister, all these guys who slept at Epstein's mansion on multiple occasions. I mean, all the billionaires, Leslie Wexner, you know, just for some reason signed over like what power of attorney or whatever.
It is a little glimpse.
That stuff is just gone.
It is a little glimpse into how this game was played and how they got away with it for so long. Because in Dershowitz, just as one example of someone who was involved in this whole sordid affair, and of course he denies any allegations of impropriety or anything that's been, you know, that he's been accused of. But here's a guy who has extraordinarily prominent in American public life. Who has direct access to the President of the United States, who has direct access to, you know, the airwaves on BBC and also on Fox News that day too. By the way, they did disclose the conflicts of interest that he has. He's extraordinarily prominent lawyer, so he's well connected within sort of the legal judicial realm and is able to secure this sweetheart deal, help to secure the sweetheart deal for Epstein. So you see the way that power protected power. And that is the story of how they got away with this for so many years before there were ever any potential consequences.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. We're going to have more for you later. Hey, guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut, our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions, all that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.